Hey everybody, I'm Casey, and I think since June is coming, summer is coming, a lot of people have no, a lot of people are in the last semester of their study in high school. So they're getting into college, soon into uni, and they might not have any single clue of where they're going. I have the same as well. Like years ago when I was going through this phase, I'm very lost as well. But afterwards, even I think I talked about this a little bit in the other video. I eventually didn't choose what I'm passionate about, but go through a rebellious cycle instead that choose something that I don't actually want to choose about, but just choosing it so kind of go away from what my parents expect me to be, right? So, however, like through this journey of the whole college years, uni years, I would definitely say that looking back, I think it also just helped me. And for my career path right now, there's actually a little correlation of what I'm doing day-to-day basis and what I study. But they actually do come in handy. So one of the things I want to point out is that if the specific major that you're choosing is not something like medicines, maybe particular engineers, or maybe doing law. I studied law, but I wouldn't say that. Okay, that's a very bad way to phrase it. If your goal is not to actually be a lawyer, if your goal is not actually to be a doctor or an engineer, or you don't have any single thing in your mind, well, if you have, you probably wouldn't stumble across this video. But your motto is like, I wanted to have a job that makes me a lot of money and to be secure, right? Then, to be honest, I think that you could just study anything. You could study art, you could study economics, you could study law as well, you could study medicine as well, software engineers, and all this different thing. But the thing for you to notice is that you don't stress yourself, because whatever you study right now might be totally different if your original goal is not actually to pursue the specific profession based on your interests, but more to it's like you wanted to make more money. The way to make money always changes. I'm not going to dive into this topic, but every single cycle, every single year, or every 5 years or every decade, trend changes. So the way to make the most money always changes along the way. And if you're really chasing for money and all this thing, then definitely stressing about like what you study right now doesn't make sense at all. But more importantly is to actually have built up some of the things that you can get from college, like for example, getting used to a systematic approach for your study, self-studying specifically, because you couldn't get much from a lecture and you couldn't get the most updated stuff about what's happening currently in this world from a lecture as well. But in order for you to strive well and stand out in college or even in uni in your degrees, you might need to put in some of the external stuff that you learn outside of the syllabus that you're provided, right? You need to be keep up to date to what's happening in the whole wide world. So developing this self-studying, self-improving kind of thing is way more important during the college days or the uni days together, when you are actually studying. So the thing is, it doesn't matter what course you take, because all these different courses, they kind of guide you in a way to learn the same essence of things. And the beautiful thing about, if you're really thinking about just making money and you don't have a specific thing in your mind, what you wanted to really do, you should just pick the thing that looks interesting to you. This is not a direct advice, but this is something I think people could do, right? Like for me, although I pick something that is not what I really wanted to do, but it's something interests me somehow. And it actually helps me. Like today, my work, I have my own tech startup, but although I don't really have the technical knowledge and everything, but the skills that I pick up during law school actually helped me a lot. I'm able to read documents, I'm able to read a lot of new articles of new inventions, including AI and all this thing. I have a very fast understanding of stuff based off literal mediums and stuff like this, because I build up a habit of reading and understanding fast, building notes and all this thing during my years in law school. So yeah, I don't think you need to really force yourself to be way too specific on how you can make the money if you really are focusing on that. And I think you don't really need to worry that much about what you actually will go through. Just really get on with it and look at it like a journey. Just pick one and sail through it, and it will be something amazing. That's one word that people always say, right? You couldn't predict what would be happening in the future. And in the past, when you look back at the past, then you can only connect the dot, right? You couldn't connect the dot when you look into the future. So I think Steve Jobs said it. So it might actually act as a surprise, right? You might eventually do something that might not be what you'd be doing, but one of the coping thing you can think about is that, well, since AI has been here, so many things has been uncertain. So whatever you study right now or learn right now might not be the most optimal way to make money in the future if you really are focusing on that. I've been repeating this so much, but yeah, you get the point. So instead of worrying about that, try to just go through this journey, and one day this thing, like whatever you learn that you might think it will be not useful at some point of time when you're studying, they will actually be very useful. Like a lot of things that I don't think is very useful for me will not be useful for me in my career when I was studying my LLB, taking up some weird knowledges, right? I don't think they actually will be useful, but somehow it actually becomes one of the most useful thing I learned in my career. Like I could apply to my career. So yeah, just write through it. And when you have pain, maybe find someone to talk about it, right? When you have doubt and all this thing, you can find someone to share your thoughts on it. But the most important thing is definitely still self. I think my past few videos are talking about the sense of self and everything, how you could control yourself. That is still basically the most important thing, because a lot of times you just don't have a certain someone that you could talk to. And the person that you could rely on the best is definitely yourself. So yeah, that's basically all for this video. It's kind of a very, well, I don't want to say it's kind of chaotic, like nothing's planned. My brain kind of jump around words as well. So if this video confuses you, I apologize here, but I also apologize for my voice because I actually having sore throat and my throat is kind of inflamed, so I couldn't really speak that well right now. So it kind of sounds a little bit weird. So yeah, that's all.